What would you do if you heard from a saint? Like, really heard from a saint? Listen in to find out what one caller did. Angels. We all have them. They're our unseen guides, our companions, our teachers, and they're all around us. Sometimes they make themselves known in the most miraculous ways. Join me, Level 3 QHHT practitioner, angel communicator, and Reiki master, Christi Hoffman, with stories from real people who have experienced uplifting phenomena and real-life angel encounters. Welcome back to Real Life Angel Encounters. I am your host, Christi Hoffman, working from home today, as you can see. Now, our guest today is Pam from ROC Metaphysical. And I interviewed with Pam on her show, weeks ago. And she said she had some angel stories to share. So I wanted to invite her to share them here. And she has several of them, very good stories, as a matter of fact. But before we get too much further, I wanted to ask a few simple favors. And that is, one, would you please share this podcast with your network, your friends, your family, your high school friends, your coworkers, your neighbors, anybody you can think of? The more people who know about this podcast, the more listeners we have and the more stories we can get, just like these stories here. Another thing is, would you please, wherever you're listening now, and that could be Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, it could be Amazon Music, it could be Spotify, it could be Pandora, it could be YouTube, any of the podcast platforms out there. Would you please subscribe, follow, I don't know, like, love, whatever it is, wherever you're listening. What that does is it notifies you whenever we have a new episode out, but it also boosts us in the algorithms, and algorithms are very important. So another huge ask, and this is a really big one. So if you just do the others, that is great. Would you please go to radiatewellnesscommunity.com/podcast and click on support the show. There's a link in the show notes. It makes it easier for you. But, all the costs for this podcast come out of my pocket. Yes, we have advertisers, but we really don't see any of that money. And we would greatly appreciate anything that you can do, anything that you can contribute to keep these wonderful stories going. Thanks, and enjoy our caller. Next up, we have Pam, who is the host of ROC Metaphysical Podcast, which I've appeared on to talk about real life angel encounters. Thank you for coming on today, Pam.
This is so interesting. Now the tides are turned. Usually I'm the one asking the questions and trying to get some really great information out of people like I did with you and about your book. So this is different, but hopefully I have some good things to say.
I think you do. The last time we talked, you started telling me some of these things. And I was like, wait a minute. Let's get you on the show and include your stories in this podcast. All right. Before we hit record, in fact, I had to say, stop. Let's record this because it was really good. You were telling me about a trip to Ireland and what happened when you came back.
Okay, so of course, I'm always interested in all things that go bump in the night and spiritual and metaphysical. It's kind of like I equate it to like this mystical science experiment that all trying to figure out why things happen and how come and why did it and who's involved. So I went to Ireland with a tour that does metaphysical and spiritual locations, but also with a ghost hunting flair. So, of course, Ireland, historically is probably millions of ghosties all hanging around. And the myths of Ireland talk about the fairy folk. It was just a fun trip and lots of interesting locations. And one of my friends that went was a psychic medium, and she did see things. She saw a leprechaun, she saw two fairies, and I was like, gosh darn it. Why didn't I? And I kind of put it out there to my team and anybody else that was keeping an eye on me. So the last day that I left, I was a little disheartened that, nothing happened like for my friend. But as I was walking along, now this is the last day walking. I'm maybe 20 feet from the bus, and I look down and I see this somewhat geometric purple thing that was maybe about 12 inches, maybe. And I was like, oh, what is that? That's odd. And of course I'm logical and analytical and, oh, there must be something wrong with my eyes. So I look again and it's still there. And I'm like, okay, it's something, but it was somewhat geometrical. It wasn't a complete square. I mean, it wasn't round. It just had a unique composition. And it was kind of like a purpley lilac color, but kind of milky. It was very different. And I thought, well, it was either earth energy or maybe it was a fairy, but unfortunately, my radar antenna isn't always good. So I thought, well, whatever it was cool. I was leaving. It was my trip to the bus to go into Dublin to get to the airport. So I thought it was kind of cool. So now I return. And of course, I talked to another friend who's a psychic medium. And she said, who'd you bring home with you? And I thought, well, not an Irish guy, darn it. But, she goes, yeah, something came home with you. And she goes, I think it's a sprite. Now, whether it was that purple thing that I saw, I don't know.
Interesting.
But she sees it as, she says, kind of white and gold, yellowy color. She goes, and there's another color in the center, she said. And it likes to sit on your nightstand and watch you when you sleep. And I thought, well, that's kind of nice, that they wanted to travel all the way over with me and be here. And then I said, well, okay, talk to it and say, hey, I hope you like being here and don't be naughty, because I heard they can be naughty.
They can be naughty.
Right. And I just said, let's be harmonious and I hope you like it here. And I've got a garden out front and let's have a good time. So I was sitting here one night and of course they say out of the corner of my eye, I see this round golden kind of color just whoop, go by kind of over to my side. And I thought, oh, well, it could be that. I don't know. But I always say hi and nice to see you.
Yes. Who knows? Who knows? Because you were in the intention of it and
Right.
this could be, this sprite, this nature being, and then you see something out of the corner of your eye. Why not? Why not? I'm sure it felt positive and not threatening or anything like that. If it
No,
did.
I haven't felt that, but I always like clear my house. And my friend told me that if you turn on some Om chanting, it's like the all-purpose cleaner for your home. Every once in a while, I turn on YouTube on the TV and crank up the chanting, which I like anyhow. So I'll be cleaning my house and I've got the chanting going on and to kind of keep the vibes in a good place.
Yeah.
So as far as like angels, to be really on topic,
Mhm.
because I see as I've been involved in this community and talking to people and having the magazine, I do see like angel lights. I equate it to like little sparkly Christmas lights. They're very
Hey.
tiny, white, and usually they're kind of like near the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I'll just be sitting in my living room or in my bedroom because I do have a TV in my bedroom, which I probably shouldn't. But I use it as a way to kind of wind down, just happen to look up and then I see these little white lights. I never asked for that, but I think it's cool. And I'm like, ooh, I'm so happy that there's more than one, maybe because there's usually groups and they come and go at different times. And
Now, have they been around you? Have you noticed them for a period of years, or do you?
yeah, I've lived here for over 10 years, and I think probably at least five or more. So probably as I become more in tune, maybe, or open to the possibility, they're like, okay, she's not gonna freak out or run out of the house like a screaming crazy person. They're like, okay, we'll show her we're hanging around and we're here to keep an eye out. That's what, I think to myself. I'm like, oh, they're just here to let me know that they're around, which is maybe a sense of comfort to realize that I can see them, but maybe not everybody can.
Mhm.
Or that's how I see them. Other people may see them other ways.
That's a really good point. Yeah. But they feel comforting. They feel benign or even just neutral at the very least. But sounds like you've got a positive feeling about them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm single right now. You're like, well, my mother would give me a hard time. Oh, you're all alone.
Oh,
But I'm
still
like,
love.
no, I'm not. I'm just single. I'm doing my thing. And then, like anybody else, you have maybe a moment where you're like, well, things aren't always working out the way I'd like. But it's nice to know you got your team. That's what I call it,
Mhm.
like in a different dimension, or they're around, but just in a different way where we see them differently, and to know that they're there. I'm like, well, even though I was having a down moment, yep, I've got my little angel lights, and now I've got the Sprite.
I,
Here, another friend said, there's a lot in your house. There's a lot. And I'm like, well, okay, as long as we all are just happy coexisting. I tell them either out loud or to myself, I go, when I leave, you guys can all have a party. I don't care. It's like telling your children. But when I come home,
you can have friends over.
right, but just when I
Don't
get
leave a
back,
mess. Yeah, don't make a mess. Clean up after yourselves. Don't annoy
right.
the neighbors. Yeah, my daughter, especially when she was little, she just drew the fairies to her. They loved her. We would take our evening walk, and there's certain times of the day that you can really see them, that they're just more visible. Dusk seems to be a really good time, and then we live in an old established neighborhood, lots of bushes and trees and flowers and older homes, and just walking around, kind of that dusk time. And you look under the bushes and you look around the flowers, and there's all these twinkly lights. And it's before the time when fireflies come out, and they look different anyway. But, I'd say, oh my gosh, the fairies are all over tonight.
Well, how do you see them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I haven't described this in a while, as lights, but kind of like more shimmery lights, not like the Christmas tree lights, right? So they're kind of like, when you are on the road and it's a hot day and you see that kind of waviness over that.
Kind of shimmery.
Yeah, I see them like shimmery lights, and they move a lot. Do yours move when you see them around the ceiling? Do they move?
Well, it's like Christmas light. They kind of like blink off,
Yeah.
or they appear and then maybe they're over here,
Yeah.
So is it the same or is it different ones?
I would consider
Oh,
that moving around too, right? Yeah, that's how I see them now. So fun especially when she was little, and she'd have a friend over and they'd be playing, and oh my gosh, the fairies were all around them, all around. And there's one time I actually got a photo of one, and my daughter had wanted me to put curlers in her hair at night so that when she woke up, her hair would be curly. Her hair is very, very straight, or it was then. Now it's curly, but when she was little, it was straight. So we did that in the morning. I was getting her ready for school and taking out the curlers and putting little barrettes in her hair. And I said, well, let's take a picture and see how pretty your hair looks. I brought my camera out and I've got it ready to take a photo. And I see this fairy come right in front. And I thought, you want me to take your picture? This will be fun.
mm.
So I took a picture and you could see this. It's not super clear, and it's more like a zigzag light. And you can see it looks like a sylph, like a traditional picture of a sylph, with the wings out the back, and her legs are kind of up, or her knees are kind of up. I put a link to that in the show notes, or put it somewhere everybody can see that. Yeah, it's fun when we start talking about the fairies and the nature spirits, because they're everywhere, everywhere. I found out in QHHT sessions that we can have lifetimes where we are the consciousness or the fairy or the gnome or the elf in blades of grass, in a leaf on a tree, bush,
Hmm.
trees. They all have their nature beings. It's crazy. Yeah. So you've got some other stories.
Oh, I have lots of stories.
Okay, let's dig into some more.
I don't know if it was something that it was more regional, but this was easily probably 15 years ago. So there was this thing about have an angel come to your home. And so I don't know if you got this. So like friends around here, you would say, I've had an angel at my house. I would like to send the angel to you. So you had to have a flower, a candle,
Oh,
an apple, like these certain things that you needed to have. And then it was a very specific time. So I got the email and said, tomorrow it'll be at your house at 4 o'clock. And you had to physically open the door at 4 o'clock and say, you're come on in. And the girl that had it before me, she's a nurse and she does healing work and very in tune and maybe more empathic. And she said, oh, I could just feel the vibration. The energy was so wonderful. And I was like, oh, I hope that happens for me. And I was kind of downhearted because I'm probably not that kind of sensitive in some cases. So I'm like, gee, how will I ever know it really is happening? Because it happened for her. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, at 4 o'clock, I open the door and say, come on in. And I'm sitting there going, well, am I going to feel anything? Of course, I'm analytical and logical, trying to determine, is this really true or, is this just crazy? So I'm sitting there and I look straight ahead and on the wall, and the wall is white. It was a very distinct circle, but it was white, but it kind of softened out
Yeah.
around it. You could tell.
Right.
And it was probably the size maybe of a grapefruit.
Oh
And
my.
I was just like, oh my God, it's true. I feel like young Frankenstein. What was it? Terry Garway. It's true. It's true. If you know what that one was about,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's twoo. It's twoo.
right. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I was flabbergasted.
Oh,
And maybe in retrospect, I think because I said I want to see, because I don't know if I can feel that is now how I know that there's things going on. Like I see the little angel lights. I saw that ball, which maybe was the sprite, go by me. I have had other instances where I've seen in my kitchen look like metallic gold orb
ooh.
in my kitchen. And I was just like, huh, I don't know. But I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as long as it doesn't feel negative or harmful, as long as it's behaving itself, generally these things are really positive and beneficial. So, you can
Right.
ask, you can always ask, are you here for my highest and best good?
Well, I always say hi and thank you for coming. And if there's an opportunity for you to, because I am clairaudient, it goes in peaks and valleys. And I said, if there's ever a time that you want to talk
Yeah.
and make sure I can hear you, I'd be love to have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know. How about dreams? Do they ever come in your dreams?
So that's another story I have. So I'm very into Ascended Masters. And if people don't know, just Google Ascended Masters. They were around from the beginning of time. Some have had human life, some have had just spiritual, but they had physical presence.
Yeah.
If you read like a biography of a yogi, I think it's Yogananda had Babaji, I think it was, that showed up. So, I mean, I'm saying these names, and I hope people will do their research to understand names I'm throwing out there. So, I'm very interested in Saint Germain because he was very much a part of, from what I've read, is helping the states become a reality. He supposedly lived in France and Europe and was really working behind the scenes about democracy and ethical living. And that's why he wanted the United States to be this place where people could live, and especially now.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm hopefully he's still on the case and helping us out.
Very much so. I've read a lot. There's a lot online. There's all kinds of books. So I'm just fascinated. And sometimes I dream, but I'm aware of the dream. And I heard myself call out, hey, Saint Germain, how are you? Right. I'm like, why would I do that? But I hear myself say it. And then I hear in return, like a radio voice of a man, hello, how are you, my friend?
Oh my goodness.
Holy smokes.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, if that was really him,
Oh my gosh. What happened next?
well, of course, it was so shocking. I feel like, I'm just a little normal human. Like, it's like the De Niro thing. You talking to me? are you talking to me? Right. And I was like, holy smokes and a half. If you read a lot of the information in your sleep, which you probably know, we travel and we go places and hopefully we're learning and being taught things. And they have mystery schools, if you want to call that, or places that we go in our sleep, which we may or may not be aware of, where we're actually learning things and
Mm-hmm.
our higher self, working on all the spiritual goodness that we have, so that when we, reincarnate and maybe are hanging out in heaven at like graduated and gone on to bigger and better things because you've gone through this connection and training. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I do all the things that I do, is because we can all have this two-way connection with them. And it's really quite easy. And, like you said, you're never alone.
right.
No one ever needs to be lonely, because we've got an unending stream of guides and beings that want us to succeed and want us to do well. So have you heard from Saint Germain since?
Not that I know of. I mean, sometimes I hear talk and sometimes it's clear and sometimes it's a little muffled. So I don't know, but I just keep saying, if you ever want to talk or if I'm supposed to go to training class, I'm happy to go. Send me so I can learn more at night.
You're wearing in your background a lot of purple, and that's, of course, Saint Germain's color. He's the guardian of the violet flame,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that
Yeah.
we're talking about him. Now, I have to say, for anybody who's listening, doesn't know who this is, Saint Germain is not an actual saint. He's from the region. He was the Count of Saint Germain in France, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a mystic. He was very mystical. In fact, in Outlander, in the Outlander series, they are in France. Of course, Claire and Jamie are in France. They are at the center of all of the things that were going on at that time. But anyway, Saint Germain was one of the characters in that. He was very, very mysterious. But the legend says that he never died, that he was always ageless, and that he existed for centuries and centuries. And anyway, now he's an ascended master. So, what other stories do you have?
Well, I did wake up one night and find a huge purple orb at the foot of my bed.
My gosh.
That was the size of a basketball. And again, I just like woke up and looked down and said, holy cow, again, it was pretty big. So I thought, well, I don't know.
Right? You're getting visited. And what did it do once you noticed it?
Well, I just stared at it because it's like, how often do you see this big, huge purple ball at the foot of your bed? That was kind of unusual. So I figured the purple would make you think it's a higher level energy or being that it was visiting. And it's just so odd that I woke up to see it. Like I woke right up and saw it.
Yeah. So did it fade away? Did it move? Did it?
Well, no, it just kind of sat there or, was at the foot of my bed. And I just said, well, all right, it's nice to see you. And if I don't know what happened after that, that was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
So again, it's another visual for me. So,
And that's funny, Pam, because you say you're clairaudient, and I totally believe that. But your clairvoyance game is strong,
yeah.
right? Because clairvoyance is the seeing the things, and it's not like I see dead people, I see an angel at this. It's like seeing the lights. It's seeing like these orbs, and having things visually appear to you. So you got some of that going on too, girl.
Well, it's fun. I guess the latest thing is after I interviewed you about your book, and
Mhm.
I think it was either that night or the next night. And I remember I was asleep, but I must have been astral traveling because I kind of woke up and saw that outside my bedroom was a little hallway and it was lit up. And I mean, I would never go to bed with a hall light on. I don't know. So I thought, well, that's really odd. Why is the hall light on? So I get up and maybe in my astral body, because it wasn't physically me, I didn't really wake up. And I
Yeah.
go to the hallway and I saw, all right, the light is on. And I don't know why I look up. Well, all right, the light's at the ceiling. So I look up and the ceiling looked like when you see those live pictures of the sun with the gas moving.
Yes, yes.
I looked up and the ceiling is just like this moving, energy. If you ever watch, when they talk about the sun and it's got spots coming out and they talk about the gas and, it's kind of a cool picture when you see all this movement of these gases on the sun. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. And it was kind of orangey gold, like that color. And I'm just looking up at it going, what in heaven's name is that? And I was gobsmacked because I'm like, what is that? So I don't know if that was angelic energy, was it a portal or a vortex? And, so maybe you tripped a switch for me because it happened so shortly after we spoke.
Hey, what can I say? What can I
Yeah.
say, right? Have that effect on people. Well, that's interesting. And then what came of that? Did it just like go away? Did it
Well,
fade?
I just felt so overwhelmed. I remember I got down on one knee and said, well, I'm not sure what this is, but thank you for whatever it is. If it's something that is purposeful, like there's something more to come.
Absolutely. What an amazing experience. And I'm glad it didn't frighten you.
No, I mean, I just felt that it was powerful in whatever aspect.
Yes.
Whether it is representing powerful energy, is it a portal? I didn't know. Maybe it was an angel that, that's how it would appear to me. I don't know. Other than I just felt powerful.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I hope that, you continue to have these experiences. I believe you will. And once we start having experiences and are open to it, I feel like it's easier to have more experiences after that.
Well, I think that's what happens is that it seems to be growing, and as time has gone by, there's been more happening. And of course, I check in with all my spiritual friends, and they tell me, and maybe it's the same for a lot of people, like if we're in this, we're moving forward, the energy is moving us forward.
Right.
If there's things that I'm supposed to do with all this, that's my question, is like, I see these things happen. Is it for me to do something with, or is it just telling me that all of this is available and that to be spiritual and keep doing the best you can?
Right, exactly. Is it a sign to just keep going in the way that I'm going? Is this a warning? Is it they just want to make their presence known and want me to know that they're with me? And just keeping that, your mind open, keeping that avenue of query open. And also, I have to say, appreciating the experience. Thank you for showing up. You've got my attention. Just thinking,
Right. I mean, and I think that was one of the things I was thinking when I was going to do this is that if we don't pay attention and you discount it because my analytical mind is always in the way and oh, that can't be. That no, that could never happen. So, I mean, if people see an angel like what we think an angel would be, it comes with wings or has some bright light or something that is so out of the ordinary, like seeing a Martian show up at my front door. It's like, no, they could never happen. Never, never, never. And so I think that would be what I would say is never discount it, write it down. And then if you're lucky like me, and I've got all these people that I know that are in all kinds of spiritual, metaphysical, alternative healing, I check in with them to say, geez, this thing happened. Do you know of anything like that? Or what do you feel about it? To kind of check in to see if my thoughts and feelings are similar to what they think, or if I'm totally off base. Sometimes I think they're wrong and I have my own feeling, but maybe that's me becoming more aware and in tune and letting my logical brain step aside.
exactly. Exactly. Wonderful. Any other stories you'd like to share?
Well, I went to the QHHT gathering in Asheville,
That's right. I'm sorry I missed
right?
you. I missed that one.
And, of course, everybody there is all into this fun, unique, spiritual things. And it was quite busy and, it kind of was peopled out and I just needed a little quiet time. And luckily I got to go with two ladies who were friends and they were just a barrel of fun, but they felt the same way. I think they were a little overwhelmed with all the people and activity and all this a lot of action and, trying to absorb it all and get into an even keel. So we went to the local park, which they said had a vortex in. And I said, oh, that would be fun. I'll just see if we can feel it or have any knowledge of it or whatever. And the one girl was highly empathic and intuitive, and the other girl was more like me. But they were both level 1 practitioners, which they were starting their path to Dolores Cannon's type of hypnotherapy to talk to your higher self and your soul. And
yeah, so they were open to all of this. They were interested.
right,
They believed in all of this. Yeah.
right. So we went to the park and, I just said, I just need to walk and just be quiet and slow and just kind of enjoy the surroundings. And they had that hurricane. So some of the park was the trees were kind of scattered and broken and whatever. So we're just walking around and then we were just stopping there for a minute. And then I hear it was a male voice. And I'm looking at this tree, which had cracked in half. So all that was left was like kind of a jagged 6-foot stub. And I hear it's going to make me like go, oh, the message said, I am beautiful and so are you.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh.
so if I hadn't taken the time to be quiet, which I have monkey brain, which I'm sure a lot of people do, I never, and that's the first time I've had that type of experience. So was it the voice of the tree talking to me?
Right.
I'm gonna say yes. And because the tree was broken.
Oh, that seems symbolic.
Right. It's pretty darn deep. So here you are broken, but you're still alive, and I am beautiful, and so are you. So I tell the girls, I'm like, oh my God, girls, the tree just told me this. And I just was because I heard it and then the message. I mean, it was two things happening, and I just was overwhelmed.
Gosh.
So that's the other message. Take the time and listen.
Well, and you just said a moment ago that you felt like you're not one of these people who's as attuned or intuitive as others, but you definitely have it going on. And all of us have these gifts. I just started teaching a new class on channeling last night, and we talked about how we all have these gifts. We're born with them. So, yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing these. I believe every single one of them.
Well, I mean, it's true. You would think this is kind of crazy, but it happens. And when you start talking to people, and just like you with your podcast and your book, if you feel comfortable in saying it, other people will say, hey, you know what? This happened to me too. And then the stigma goes away. We can't talk about it.
Exactly, right. You don't feel so isolated in it. And you feel like, okay, maybe it's safe to talk about this. And maybe that experience that I had really was something.
Right.
And we don't have to be Joan of Arc. We don't have to be Mo
No.
to have these things happen to us.
Right. And I think especially have at least one person you can talk about it and then you feel more comfortable with it because there used to be stigma. And way back when we would have been locked up in the funny farm to say, I heard the tree talk to me.
You are absolutely right. Yeah, that would have gotten you locked up. And that's also why I started this podcast, is so that we know that this is a natural and normal thing, and we should all be accepting of this happening. That our guides want to talk to us. They want to work with us. We're never alone. They're always around us. Thank you so
Right.
much for being on to share your stories. These are great stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm happy to share them. Hopefully people just identify with me. I'm just a single gal working a regular job, 2 kids, and
Absolutely.
do regular things other than, have a lot of psychic friends and
And let's plug your podcast and your newsletter.
Oh, all right. So it's ROC because I live in Rochester. So it's rocmetaphysical.com. It's a monthly online magazine and the first of each month. So hopefully tonight everything will be uploaded and then people can go on for free. And what I like is that everybody shares their articles with me for free because they believe in what they say or do. So I like that. And, I had you for July and you were on there and we did a video interview. So I have a YouTube channel also, ROC Metaphysical. So your interview is on there. So, and it's fun. And I get to talk to interesting people like you, get to find out what you know and what you do and to help people understand that this is just the great mystery that we're trying to figure out.
It's a wonderful resource. It really is. And you accept submissions from all over the country, right?
Right. Yeah. I have people that just email me and say, hey, I've got an article. Would you like to use it? So I had a fellow from England that does palm reading.
How fun.
Yeah.
All kinds of wonderful things. So definitely check that out, rocmetaphysical.com. All right, Pam, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Well, I loved it. So thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and follow and be sure to share this episode. The more people who know about this podcast, the more great story submissions we get. Have a story to share? Email your own real-life angel encounter to angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com or visit radiatewellnesscommunity.com/real-life angel encounters podcast. Or join our Facebook group and continue the discussion. Want to know what your angels and loved ones have to tell you? Schedule an appointment with me at radiatewellnesscommunity.com. A special thanks to James Wheeler for the original music and to Tiffany Baumgarten for the logo design.